coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News Today starts now.
Good morning, Mid-Missouri. It's Tuesday, February 26, 2019. Thanks for waking up with us.
It is another standard morning, which no one's complaining about.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
right.
happened.
Quiet, cold. At least it's not snowy outside. It looks like we're going to have to start talking about some precipitation in the forecast coming up over the next couple of days, especially with the cold weather setting in here over the upcoming weekend. Temperatures right now around 26 in Columbia. It's 29 in Jefferson City, 34 at Lake Ozark, and then you go for northern Missouri, still in the upper teens for temperatures. A little chill to the air, not much of a wind outside, but there's a bit of a breeze at times here throughout the morning, and some of those clouds that we had yesterday are going to be moving in too. So a little bit more cloud cover today. Temperatures are on pace to reach the low 50s this afternoon.
President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will be meeting for their second time today in Vietnam.
This morning's meeting is meant to deal with perhaps the world's biggest security challenge, North Korea's pursuit of a nuclear program. The first summit began but did not finish the attempt to get Kim to abandon his nuclear program.
Democrats are moving quickly to try to roll back President Trump's national emergency declaration to fund his border wall.
A vote today in the Democratic-controlled House aims to revoke the president's order. The measure would then go to the Senate, where it would need the support of several GOP senators. But in the end, President Trump says he would veto the measure, and there are not enough votes to override his veto. A Republican senator says he will vote against Trump's national emergency declaration. Senator Tom Tillis says he favors border security, but believes Trump's declaration was an executive overreach. He says he can't justify providing Trump with more ways to bypass Congress.
Former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort is trying to get a lighter prison sentence. His team says he's being prosecuted exceptionally hard by Robert Mueller. Manafort pleaded guilty to money laundering and illegal lobbying for foreign politicians. His attorney says those charges don't have anything to do with his work for the Trump campaign. A federal judge in Virginia will sentence Manafort next Friday.
Here's what's happening right now. The Senate Intelligence Committee is going to interview President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, during a closed-door meeting today. Cohen set to testify in 3 congressional meetings just this week. Lawmakers plan to ask him about the Trump organization's finances and why he made false statements to the committee last year. Cohen pleaded guilty to a series of federal crimes, including paying hush money to 2 women who allegedly had affairs with President Trump. So that's happening today.
All right. Thank you very much.
2020 presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says he'll make 10 years of his tax returns public. He also vowed to support the Democratic presidential nominee, saying he held no grudges after the 2016 campaign. Sanders said he had released his tax returns in 2016 if he was made the Democratic nominee.
The most senior Catholic cleric charged with child sex abuse has been convicted of molesting 2 choir boys. Australian Cardinal George Pell faces a maximum of 50 years in prison. Details of the trial had been kept private until now, as he faces a second trial in April for similar allegations. His 5-year term within the Catholic Church is expected to be up this year and will not be renewed. Several people spoke out about the convictions of George Pell. A spokesperson for one of the choir boys says it's extraordinary to see the downfall of such a man, one of the most powerful in Rome. A previous survivor said this is something that's impacted his life and knows how it affects these young men. Pell's attorneys say they'll appeal the convictions.
The United Methodist Church is teetering on the brink of a denominational split ahead of a final vote today. That's after more than half of its delegates voted to maintain the current ban on gay marriage and a ban on ordaining gay clergy. The favored plan it formally approved could drive supporters of LGBT inclusion to leave America's second largest Protestant denomination. The church's Council of Bishops had hoped delegates would have approved a different plan. Called the One Church Plan, it leaves decisions about gay marriage and gay clergy up to local churches to decide. It would also remove language from the denomination's official policy saying homosexual is incompatible with Christian teaching.
Columbia's Planned Parenthood will no longer provide abortion services. This comes after a federal judge ruled state restrictions were not undue burdens on women seeking abortions. Dr. Brandon Hill, CEO and president of Planned Parenthood Great Plains, criticized the decision. He says, quote, "Let's call this what it is. Politicians ignoring medical evidence to push sexual and reproductive health care out of reach for people across Missouri." Governor Mike Parson is also responding to the ruling. In a statement, he said, in part, quote, "This is a huge victory for protecting women's health and the right to life. As a former member of the Missouri General Assembly, I was proud to cast votes in support of protecting life and women's health that have now been upheld in the court of law. The only Missouri clinic to provide abortions now is in St. Louis."
A new House bill could arm faculty and staff at Missouri colleges. The Higher Education Committee heard the House bill last night. It would let qualified staff carry concealed weapons on campus. Proponents say it'll save time in situations where every second counts. Opponents say it's just a Band-Aid on a much bigger societal problem.
Who are we as a society that here we are in the House of Representatives debating this sort of bill? Like, where have we gone wrong in society that we feel like we need to have designated shooters in our religious studies class at MU?
This is the second time committee members have heard the bill. The bill's sponsor introduced a similar bill last year.
Missouri House Democrats addressed ways to make lawmakers more accountable. They called out Republicans for trying to repeal a voter-approved law. They say one proposal by Republicans would threaten part of Amendment 1. Democrats say the GOP would prevent the release of state and municipal government records even under the Sunshine Law. But Republicans say it's about privacy concerns.
Make it where these confide apps, these applications which keep your communications secret and then delete them, we made that part of the Sunshine Law. But I don't think that transparency in government should come by way of tearing down your privacy.
And again, in CLEAN, there was an overwhelming support that showed that they wanted access to our documents and what's happening in this building. And I'm going to oppose anything that makes it harder.
Democrats also outlined a bill to make political groups disclose their donors.
Columbia police are looking for a man they say is a suspect in a string of burglaries over the weekend. This picture comes from 44 Stone Public House on Peachtree Drive. Investigators say someone also broke into the Trove Salon, the Axe House, and the French Laundry.
The Missouri Attorney General wants carjackers to face at least 10 years in prison. Attorney General Eric Schmidt introduced a statute to better address and prosecute violent carjackings in Missouri. It would allow prosecutors to charge carjackers with motor vehicle hijacking rather than broader robbery charges.
A U.S. congressional committee tasked with reworking military policies says it won't be influenced by a recent judge's ruling that deemed men-only drafts unconstitutional. The draft hasn't been used in 40 years, but under U.S. law, men must register at 18 years old. Despite the judge ruling that women should also have to register, the chair of the committee says the decision won't influence the report or hurry along their recommendations to Congress. Mid-Missourians are increasing their communication and leadership skills. A local nonprofit organization is hosting an annual meeting tonight, helping members better themselves. KMU8's Garrett Tiaz joins us live to explain how the group can help you too. Garrett?
I'm standing live outside the St. Luke's United Methodist Church off Providence and East Ash Roads, where the Columbia Toastmasters meeting is tonight to help educate members on their communication skills. The club is open to the public and welcomes anyone interested in bettering their professional skills. During meetings, members present speeches already prepared or impromptu speeches, while the group listens, and after, members recommend suggestions on how to improve in positive ways. A member with 3 decades of service says communication is behind most issues.
If you look at the foundation of what went wrong, you're going to find it was communications. It was a breakdown in communications. Because communications actually can save lives.
If you cannot make the meeting, the Downtown Toastmasters Club meets Thursday at noon at the United Methodist Church on 9th Street. Reporting live from Columbia, Garrett Tias, KMU8 News.
Univision says 6 of its journalists were detained at Venezuela's presidential palace in Caracas. That includes veteran anchorman Jorge Ramos. The network says Ramos was interviewing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and Maduro didn't like his questions. Within minutes, the interview was over. Univision says Ramos and the crew members were held for about 3 hours, then released. The Trump administration has announced new sanctions on allies of President Maduro as it struggles to find ways to boost his opponent, Juan Guaido. Vice President Mike Pence went to Colombia for an emergency summit of regional leaders. Pence urged them to freeze oil assets controlled by Maduro. He also said he wants to restrict visas for Maduro's inner circle.
A jury in federal court will decide whether a Roundup weed killer caused a California man's cancer. Edwin Hardiman is the second plaintiff to go to trial claiming Monsanto's weed killer causes cancer. Monsanto says the active ingredient in Roundup is safe, but a previous jury awarded a man $289 million after finding Roundup caused his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
New experiments are being used to counter diseases caused by bacteria. People are now deliberately inhaling a virus from sewage to attack the bug. People are dying of infections that were easy to treat, but bugs have evolved to withstand multiple antibiotics. A possible treatment tricks bacteria out of a nutrient they need to survive.
Well, coming up, I'm talking about our temperatures for this morning. Today is by far going to be the warmest and most mild day we have in probably the next 10. Because a big cold snap is on the way. I have all the details on how cold it's going to get and some rain and snow chances and also ice chances coming up.
One of the most common types of allergies these days is peanuts, but find out how some people are getting over it without medication.
A live look out over downtown Columbia at 4:40 on your Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather.
4:42 is your current time. You're looking over the Jefferson City area this morning where skies are clear this morning. We're going to see some sunshine for the morning hours, clouds for the afternoon. Should be the most mild day out of the next several as temperatures are about to take a big plunge. Right now, 26, the current temperature in Columbia. Relative humidity is down near about 81%. We're still seeing some of the patchy frost try to develop in a few areas. Winds are 10 miles per hour out of the northeast. It's giving a wind chill this morning around 16 degrees. Still is a bit brisk, but it is a bit warmer than yesterday morning. 24-hour temperature change. It's about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than yesterday morning. You're still going to need a coat, but this is just the sign of a warmer air mass trying to move its way in. We're at 26 degrees in Columbia, 29 in Jefferson City, 34 at Lake Ozark, 19 to near 20 over parts of northern Missouri. Those temperatures were in the single digits yesterday. That's why we're seeing such the dramatic change in temperature compared to yesterday morning. Satellite and radar, certainly a lot more cloudiness out overhead than what we had yesterday morning. And I think that's going to factor into our forecast, especially by the afternoon. Tempcast still has us in the low 50s for a lot of central Missouri for today. Up over northern Missouri, closer up toward Macon and Moberly. You folks will probably at least reach the mid to upper 40s, maybe low 50s if we get a strong wind out from the south. It will be short-lived, though, because temperatures look to drop tomorrow. I still think we're in the 30s for tomorrow afternoon, and then even colder into Thursday, and that sets up the chance for some wintry weather in the forecast with temperatures in between the 20s to near freezing in the low 30s. We're certainly going to keep an eye on that next chance for some rain or possibly some freezing rain. And I think it could arrive as early as Thursday morning. From now through the afternoon, looks like things are going to be sunny, but at least into the evening, that's when the clouds start to move in. Our next cold front is going to be associated with this cloud mass, and it will pass by overnight through tomorrow morning. A couple of light showers will be possible over parts of the Lake of the Ozarks tonight through tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's mainly just cloudy and dry Wednesday. Skies will start to try to clear up through the afternoon on Wednesday before they re-cloud up into Thursday morning. Let's watch over southern Missouri, especially for areas south of Interstate 70. I think that's where we're going to have our highest chance for some freezing rain overnight through Thursday morning. Starts up around midnight on Thursday, continues into the 5 and 6 o'clock hours Thursday morning, especially for areas near Rolla, all the way down to Springfield. So from Interstate 44 to I-70, it seems like that's going to be kind of the dividing line and the narrow band of where we're going to get some of this freezing rain to develop. It's not a lot. I think we're just dealing with some drizzle from Columbia to Jefferson City, but that still can ice things up a little bit just depending on where our temperatures are at. The heavier icing is going to be possible from the lake area down near Rolla, Vichy. And then for areas to our south, I think that Interstate 44 is probably going to be pretty icy at times. If you have any travels on Thursday morning, if you take those travels on I-44, you're going to find some ice, at least in the morning on Thursday. Temperatures Thursday aren't expected to warm too much either, so we might have some prolonged ice in some areas south of Columbia Thursday morning, at least for some time. All right, so some morning sunshine, then partly sunny today. It's a slightly mild day, but this is certainly going to be the warmest out of the stretch. Details on that here in a second. High temps today get to near 54. We'll see some drizzle overnight, especially for areas closer down toward the lake. 34 will be the overnight low. Most of our evening temperatures, though, will actually be somewhere around 45 degrees, so light jackets needed here for your Tuesday evening. All right, and then the clouds are back for Wednesday. Rain and ice in the forecast for Thursday morning. Let's watch for more rain and snow on Friday, and then cold over the weekend. Temperatures will be in the low to mid-20s with morning lows somewhere around 5 to 10 degrees. We could even see some snow chances Friday night and Sunday morning.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. An incurable disease looks to have some steps in the right direction. Find out how doctors are trying to bring your memory back.
And here's a live look over Columbia Regional Airport. It is 4:47. We'll be right back.
Here's what's happening right now. Iran's foreign minister said he hoped his sudden resignation would reinforce the position of fellow diplomats. His resignation surprising for Iranians as tensions were already running high over America's withdrawal from the nuclear deal. The Tehran stock market dropped 2,000 points already today, and the Iranian rial, that's their dollar, rapidly depreciated among uncertainty over that deal's future.
Researchers found a group of people who completed peanut allergy immunotherapy but continued to eat small amounts of peanuts each day. 8 years later, they had no reactions to exposure from peanuts. 10 people did have allergic reactions to newly introduced peanut food. Their conditions were mild and were treated with antihistamines.
A different study says exercise and sleep deprivation can increase the risk of a peanut allergy. People who were given peanuts after working out or not sleeping and then one on a regular day, the study found it took half the amount of peanuts to trigger a reaction after these two instances. New research finds long work hours increases the risk for depression in women. Women who had work 55 or more hours a week were more likely to be depressed than those who work 40-hour weeks. Working weekends increases depression for both men and women.
There are new experimental treatment possibilities for Alzheimer's disease that could offer hope. The protein amyloid has been the target of treatments for those with Alzheimer's disease. Now, a doctor says they're targeting another protein in the brain, tau. He says they need to research experimental treatments separately to see what works. For this tau study called TANGO, you need to have mild memory impairment.
You need to be on a stable medicine, some of the typical memory medicines that we have available. Typically, you need to have a study partner, somebody who can come in with you regularly.
Soon, there will be another trial that will be targeting blood vessels in the brain. And here's a live look at the Lake of the Ozarks. It is 4:51 in the morning. We will be right back.
your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather.
All right, welcome back. 4:54 is your current time. We're still stuck in that cold north to northeast wind. I think we're going to be in that wind for quite some time today, at least out from the north and northeast. Here's the dividing line, though, right over parts of Interstate 44 and over the Ozarks at this time. You can see kind of the convergence area. Winds coming in out of the south or winds coming in out of the north. Seems to be right along Waynesville to Rolla this morning. That's trying to shift itself to the north. And as that happens, warmer air will start to move in as well. It'll kind of mix in the atmosphere enough to get us out of the 26 range. And let's go ahead and just double that temperature today. I think we're going to be up near about 52. That's 26 times 2, 50, 52. There you go. All right, satellite and radar this morning, it's showing some clouds moving in. And a lot of these clouds are going to be coming in from the south and west. Those will be thicker and thicker as we go throughout the day. So we'll start out mostly sunny, eventually becoming partly sunny into the afternoon. Temperatures here this morning out the door right around 25 into the afternoon hours. Well, we're going to quickly reach the upper 40s, possibly low 50s in some areas to our south. And eventually by this evening, cooler weather starts to spill in after the 8 o'clock hour. Looks like we'll dip back into the upper 30s and eventually get colder and colder overnight. So your morning planner looks like this. A little chilly this morning, 26 that morning temperature, 40 at your lunch hour. I think it's mild-ish at the 4 o'clock hour with temperatures near 52.
Here's what's happening right now. Chicagoans head to the polls today to vote on 14 different candidates for mayor. The current mayor, Rahm Emanuel, opted to not run in this election. There's the candidates. The polls say the leading candidate is Bill Daley, whose father and older brother led Chicago for a combined 4 decades. Previously, Daley and 3 other frontrunners have been dubbed as the Burke Four for having ties to a Democratic alderman named Ed Burke, who was charged with attempted extortion. Now, if there is no majority winner today in Chicago, the 2 highest vote getters will have a runoff in April.
Wow.
14 candidates.
14.
Do your homework.
Yes, no kidding. All right, thank you.
And here's a live look over Jefferson City. It is 4:56. It's Tuesday morning. We will be right back.